Awesome. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Is it really a JE Live without tech difficulties to start off? I don't know what was going on. My Rodecaster Pro was on, but apparently it wasn't showing. All right, welcome back to another Rams JE Live season. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen. And today, I come to you live after a Rams win. Totally forgot the victory shades. So my bad on that. I guess we'll have to do that Monday. They're in my car. I was too stoked. I just, it is what it is. But Nathan Landman has arrived. He is inevitable. In case you didn't know, now you know. The Rams win this game 14-9 off the back of an absolute dominant performance from the Rams defense. A defense that, well, if you know ball, you knew it was going to be good. You might have even known it was going to be great. But this defense can be the best in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. It's week one, so obviously there's going to be some knee-jerk reactions, but always take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, right? And the reason being is because we don't want to get too high on ourselves, too high and mighty, right? Well, here's the deal. The Rams today, a lot went south, a lot worked for them, a lot didn't, and they came away with a win. We're not going to talk about the elephant in the room. I guess I'll just mention him once. Craig Rolstad, the worst official in the league. Very, very, very biased. Yeah, we're not going to talk about him, right? But the Rams defense is for real. They felt for real last year, week one, against the Lions. But in this iteration, this is the best Rams defense we've seen since, I don't know. This might be the best Rams defense in the Sean McVay era. And now we have to see them stand up to that. But today, everyone kept telling me, not everybody, I want to give some people credit here, but a lot of people kept telling me, your boy Akello Witherspoon is about to get dogged by Nico Collins. Dogged. They were worried about this secondary. Straight up worried. They said this was a very bad secondary. This is the biggest hole in the Rams roster. And you know what I said? Absolutely not. They're underrated. They're a lot better than you realize. And guess what? They're a lot better than you realize. A lot better. I think when it comes to this Rams secondary, every single week they're only going to get better and better. But it's really interesting because last year they didn't really start with the secondary they wanted to start with. Darius Williams was injured, and they were starting Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White wasn't supposed to come in play until about November when they were going to kind of unleash him because he was still coming back and not 100%. And so they had to play him immediately. They also didn't have Akello Witherspoon, who was great today. I mean, when you don't hear about a corner, you know things are going well. When a corner isn't constantly being brought up on the broadcast, things are going well for said corner. And that's what we saw. So, absolutely, I see Akello slander is over. Appreciate you guys in the comment section. Puka Nacua looked great today, by the way. 10 catches on 11 targets, 130 yards, about 4 different times where he got headshot. Still kept on getting up, making plays. You love to see it. Oh boy, do you love to see it. But man, huge win. I mean, starting from the top, the Rams got off to kind of a slower start. And, it happens, right? It's frustrating, but it does happen. Devontae Adams, his first game as a Ram, had 4 catches on 8 targets for 51 yards. Some people will say, yeah, that wasn't the best performance for him. I'm okay with it. What I want to explain is this, okay? Because I think a lot of people are going to take 14 points and say, that's unacceptable. They need to do better. And normally I would agree with you, but here's the deal, okay? A win is a win is a win. But it's not just that, no. The Texans have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. So let me make this very clear. The offense got off to a slow start. Matthew Stafford, the back issue, that just sounds so stupid right now. 21 of 29, 245 yards, led 3 touchdown drives, 109.1 passer rating, was sacked 3 times. Was hit, got back up, no issue. Here's the real thing, okay? The real thing is this. what it comes down to is I think a lot of people were shocked. And I get it. I had them winning 30-20. I was a little shocked, but then I thought about it deeply. And the reality is the Texans defense is really good. And the job they actually did a stellar job. They held the Rams to 14 points. And my bad, I meant two touchdown drives, not one. 2 touchdown drives. But they held them to 14 points because their defense is legit. And in addition to that, the Texans were taking away the deep ball. They were taking away the deep throw downfield. Did you know the biggest play of the day was a 73-yard return that was called back, Jordan Whittington. And then the second biggest play of the day for the Rams was a 36-yard reception to a guy who didn't even make the team last year, and Xavier Smith. Now, understand this. In order to get the ball to Xavier Smith, right? The only way to do that, they had to have Tutu Atwell out there and basically attract attention towards the middle of the field, which then opened up that pocket near the sideline for Xavier Smith. It was beautiful play calling, beautiful executing, and it was a beautiful play design. So my point here is that the Rams had to do stuff like that to get anything going deep down the field. The Texans' game plan was very simple. We know the Rams can be a high-powered offense. We know they're going to attack us deep down the field. Let's take away the deep ball, and let's have them beat us over the head over the middle. And we believe our players can force a fumble, which they did. We believe our players can go and make the tackle, which they did, and they can hold them. Well, here's the deal. And this is why, even though Davante Adams only had 4 catches for 51 yards, this is what Davante Adams provides. On a day where Davante Adams in the stat sheet doesn't show up, right? He's still opening up creases for Puka Nacua. Because now Puka Nacua is getting those underneath snaps because you have a legitimate X receiver. And you saw it. So the offense, and they did a nice job bottling up Kyren Williams. I was not expecting that. But I also think, and I want to make this also clear and fair and defend the Rams here, the offensive line was banged up. Avila goes down at the beginning of the game. Kevin Dotson goes down, and they're still finding ways to make plays. They're still finding ways to move the chains. Now, I want to give a shout out to Kyren Williams as well as Sean McVay. That 4th down decision to go for the toss on that play was so ballsy. So ballsy. You didn't want to kick a 17-yard field goal, obviously. No one wants to do that. So I agree with it. But the toss play was the game. If the Rams don't get that, I believe the Texans win this game. I don't have a doubt in my mind that the Houston Texans win this game if Kyren Williams doesn't find his way into the end zone. No doubt in my mind. Period. Exclamation point. Whatever. I don't care. If he doesn't find his way to get into the end zone on that toss play, the game is done. Done. So that was huge. Kyron's 18 carries for 66 yards comes as a little bit of a shock to some people who were expecting a bigger game, including myself. But Texans did a nice job bottling up the run game. 2 offensive linemen get hurt. Both guards get hurt in this one. And I thought Kyren did a good job. He made some plays after contact. He created some cutback lanes. I'll tell you, there's nobody that got screwed more in this game than Jordan Whittington, though. Two huge plays get called back due to penalties. And both penalties, while they're penalties, are they getting called 100% of the time? No. Very hit or miss. So, frustrating part of that, right? But really good to see that stuff. Really good to see, Matthew Stafford was spreading the ball out. Touchdown Davis Allen was beautiful. And trust me, I have what you would call some negative things that we'll get into. But on the offensive side of the ball, they hung in there. There was a bad snap. Matthew Stafford didn't try and pick up the football. He picked up the football and secured it. Sometimes you have a bad snap and you see these guys and they try and they're like fumble the ball forward and all that, and they don't get it back. Matthew Stafford's bad snap could have literally ended this game as well. Stafford did a nice job staying composed, picked up the football. You knew the defense was just going to play lights out. They did, so it gave you an opportunity. Stafford was great today, considering everything. I'm going to start with the offense. Don't worry, we'll get into the defense. But the offense, I thought the offense was really good for what they were being asked of. The Texans had a game plan, and I actually was pretty right about this. I felt like this game would be a lot like the Raiders game in 2018. And they're just a better team than the Raiders were in 2018. So what it comes down to is that first, the first downs and all of that, the Texans were just peppering them with the quick passing. See, the thing about the Texans is that they knew the best way to neutralize this pass rush to keep the Rams in check was to have quick dump-offs. They knew that. And so that's what they did. And I thought they did a nice job. What's so wild, mind-blowing about this game is that the Rams and Texans had the same amount of same amount of first downs, right? They had the same amount of fourth downs converted and attempted at 18 first downs each. They ran the same amount of plays. But the Rams had 296 total yards to the Texans 265. The Rams averaged 5.2 yards per play to the Texans 4.6. They had the same amount of drives. They held C.J. Stroud to 188 passing yards. They held Nick Chubb, who obviously he had some good runs, but they held him to 60 yards. The leading receiver on 2 catches was Jaden Higgins with 32 yards. This defense was utterly incredible. And I just don't feel like we were, I don't know, maybe I tried to get people excited for this defense. I don't feel like we realized the grand scope of it, we as in the fan base. I don't think we understood the type of defense we're looking at here. And again, I'm not oblivious to the fact the Texans had offensive linemen go down. They already have a bad offensive line unit, but guess what? They neutralized that. The Texans knew they had a bad offensive line coming in. They got rid of the ball quickly. A lot of quick hitters. It didn't matter. The Rams still did a nice job. I thought of Kelly Witherspoon, Emmanuel Forbes, Kobe Durant. The whole secondary was outstanding today. I thought the linebackers were superb. Spates was good. Landman is probably your player of the game because I don't know if Landman doesn't get that punch out, who knows how this ends. He was insane. On top of that, the defensive line. I am very excited to see what PFF has for the pressures and all of that. They still were getting pressure despite how quickly. Josiah Stewart, I see in the comment section. Jake, appreciate you. Josiah Stewart, the rookie, huge pass breakup, right? Goes up there and bats down the pass. This was a fun game to watch. And if you like defense, man, this is a fun defense. You're going to really enjoy this defense. 10 tackles for Landman, 10 tackles for Cam Curl. You had sacks by Byron Young, who got us going. Jalen McCullough. How about Tank McCullough? I told you he was going to have a bigger role. Sean McVay told you he was going to have a bigger role. Sure enough, he did. He looked very good today. He is a chess piece for them. I'm excited for him. Ty Davis. See, this is the key when you have a team like the Rams. This is development. Ty Davis comes out of nowhere, right? Didn't have a sack last year. Ty Davis comes out of nowhere, and he gets his first sack of his career. He looked awesome today. Awesome. Byron Young with the sack. It's development, guys. Jalen McCullough was an undrafted rookie free agent out of Tennessee who didn't test well athletically. Who cares? He was awesome. It's not just that. Sean Dolak on special teams had 2 tackles. He looked great today. Davis Allen looks back. Like, no pun intended. He dealt with a back issue the whole year last year. He looked great today when they needed him. Xavier Smith. This is what we're talking about. Jordan Whittington did not have a registered catch on offense. And yet Whittington looks like he could be something special. He had a 73-yard return that was called back. Now, what you might not know, because they didn't really show it well, is that Troy Reeder, who's getting a lot of hate, and I get it, he was kept on the roster. They have him on the roster because of depth and special teams, had a special teams penalty. But guess what? He was getting his face mask held. So, he's going to get a lot of flack, but I thought Reeder was totally fine, and honestly, I think it should have not been called. And to be honest with you, I was giving the Texans credit because they had a nice game plan coming in, and they held the offense and all of that, but this game should not have been as close as it was, and a big reason is because they called back a 73-yard return. They called back a big play that goes down inside the 20. The officiating was downright awful. Horrible. So that was that. But as far as the defense, though, really like what I saw. Every single one of those guys contributed. I thought I was just really impressed with the secondary because, I don't know, if you weren't listening to yourself and you were listening to the mainstream, they'd have you believe that this secondary is absolutely terrible. Man, the way they talk about this secondary, you would think they are awful. You would absolutely think that number 4, number 14, number 1 are just bad. The way everybody was picking Nico Collins anytime, to score a touchdown, you could tell. No one had any faith in this secondary. Well, guess what? Look who's laughing after week 1. The Rams. It's their first week 1 win since 2023 when they won in Seattle. It's their first week 1 win at home since 2021 when they went on to win the Super Bowl. And that is kind of where I'm looking at this team. I don't know how you can look at today and not see a Super Bowl contender. Or a Super Bowl favorite, for that matter. I don't know. You can say, yeah, I want them to score more points, but they found a way to win a game against a really good team. This is going to be a fun season. Buckle up. Defense had to make a huge... Kobe Durant had a great interception. And then, of course, the peanut punch. That's why they brought in Landman. Remember, I said who's in my top 3 breakouts on the defense. And who are my top 3 again? Cam Curl, Nate Landman, and Akello Witherspoon. Witherspoon absolutely shut down Nico Collins. Cam Curl was tied for a team high in tackles with 10. Looked really good today against Nate Landman. And Nate Landman was also tied with 10 tackles and won the game on that punch. So we're looking good, guys. A lot of good stuff here. A lot of good stuff to take away. Now I'm going to get to the negative because I want to keep it real on this channel. This is not Homerville, okay? That's the difference with me, okay? I'm not a homer. I know people think that. The Rams just give me a lot of good to talk about. Here are my concerns, right? And I don't have as many, cons as I have pros. I'm very high on this team, obviously. The negative. Let's talk about it. So we look at wide receiver. Konate Mumfield is getting in early on in this game. Right? So that's good. 7th rounder. Your 4th round running back you traded up to get in Jarquez Hunter is unavailable. He is inactive, healthy inactive. Your 5th round defensive lineman, who you traded a 4th round pick next year to get, by the way, inactive week 1 in Ty Hamilton. So not a fan of that. You cut Chris Paul because of special teams. I think the special teams looked a little shaky at times. Dolak looks great. Obviously, Ethan Evans can punt to all hell. So there's that. But I do have issues with the fact that 2 of their rookies didn't, they were inactive. On the other hand, I had a 21-year-old, I think he's 21 now. I think he was 20 when the draft happened. And Harold Fan Jr., who I wanted, was balling over in Cleveland today. Terrence Ferguson can't even get on the field as a second rounder. I understand he's probably a little behind, but not even one snap today for Terrence Ferguson. And Colby Parkinson's in there, and the only reason Nate Landman has to make a peanut punch to win the game is because Colby Parkinson fumbles in the red zone. This game's over. This really 21-9 would have really sufficed what this game was. The Rams were the better team today. They're the better team overall. They're the better team every single day of the week. 21-9 represents what the game should have been. Because I think it's fair to the... I'm not saying they should have absolutely blown him out, but 21-9 should have been the game. Parkinson fumbles. So I don't understand Terrence Ferguson, who's 22, I believe. I'll look it up right now, but he's older than... I'll tell you that. He's older than Fannin. He's 22. He can't get on the field today. But Parkinson's on the field, and Parkinson fumbled. And I liked Parkinson, but I got to be honest with you. Aside from him blocking, I'm good on Parkinson. I don't need to watch him catch passes. Let's make that a one-off today, and let's just move on to Davis Allen. Let's move on to Tyler Higbee. Higbee didn't even catch a pass today. It was a weird day. I mean, the Texans took away a lot of what they want to do. They have a really good secondary. Lassiter's really good, obviously. But we know Derek Stingley. I had an issue with some of the headhunting that was going on. Am I going to call the Texans a dirty team? No, I'm not. But I did have an issue with some of the headhunting that was going on because it was obvious. Puka Nacua got kicked out of this game with the blood coming out of his eye, basically. And then he got taken out again because of another helmet-to-helmet, one that they threw the flag for and then picked it up. So let's be honest with ourselves. I'm not going to call them all dirty. I'm not going to say the Texans are a dirty organization. But I did have an issue with some of those hits, for sure. That said, going back to it, yes, still being on the negative, right? Because I want to be a realist here. I like Colby Parkinson as a blocking tight end. Thought he had upside as a receiving tight end. I've interviewed him before, so whatever, right? I'm not trying to hate on the guy. But I owe it to you guys. I want to be fair here. I want to call it right down the line. And the reality is Colby Parkinson is not better than Davis Allen in the receiving game. And today, he kind of showed that. And you look, and Terrence Ferguson's not getting in week 1. Second rounder. I don't agree with it. It was hard to watch Harold Fan Jr. doing what he did today in Cleveland. And then Terrence Ferguson doesn't even get to play. Hopefully that's tomorrow or that's next week. He gets to play against the Titans. I don't know. And then I'm not done, of course, because I want to be real here. Offensive line. So now Bo Limmer's your left guard because Avila goes down. And then he moves over to right guard, I believe, once Avila came back because Kevin Dotson went down. Well, the whole Lampkin thing, once again, is rearing its ugly head. Justin Dedick was inactive today, so if they needed him like they did today, they didn't have him. You know who was active today? Who didn't play at all? Darius Williams, who they paid $8 million to instead of just letting him go. Akella Witherspoon, like I told you guys, was going to be CB1, which he was today. Emmanuel Forbes was going to be CB2, and they were going to rotate in Kobe Durant and Darius Williams. Darius Williams was always CB4. But we didn't even see him today. Now, could this have anything to do with the matchup? Maybe. But let's be honest. This is frustrating because you let guys go, whether it be the cut down day or in free agency due to money, but then you're paying $8 million to your fourth corner. Ahkello Witherspoon's making the veteran minimum. Ahkello Witherspoon's making the veteran minimum, and he's your number one corner. Emmanuel Forbes was cast off by his team. He's a first-round pick. They say he was a bust. They threw him in the trash. They moved on. Kobe Durant's a fourth-rounder in his contract year. And Darius Williams is an established corner in this league, and he's your fourth corner, and you're paying $8 million to. So, again, I told you the negative would come out. I call it both ways. I'm very much a straight shooter. And yeah, I just, those are the things that were irking me watching this game. That's all. Nothing too crazy. But when I see two rookies that are inactive today, and I see Terrence Ferguson, the guy that they were comparing to Chris Cooley, and a young Travis Kelce, and he's not even getting playing time, and you're playing a guy like, I mean, you're playing Parkinson over him. Well, there you go. Right? That's just the reality of it. All right. We got super chats. I'm going to get to those. We have voicemails. If you want to leave a voicemail, which will be aired on the show, of course, keep it clean. I do have a transcript here. I can see if you're not keeping it clean. It could be aired on the show. I'm going to let you guys know that if you want to become a member on the channel, if you're an MVP member, you get to do the voicemail. And the voicemails are essentially replacing the call-ins because our show has gotten bigger. We have, 5,000-6,000 more subscribers. I don't have time to do the voicemail for 2 hours anymore. Or not the voicemail, the call-ins. So I figured this was the best course of action moving forward. So if you do want to do that, then you can join today. The link is actually in the description, and it's also in the comment section, in the chat, rather. You can become a member hitting that link. And that is, I'm excited because I already got some voicemails in here that I'm going to read, and or not read, but I'm going to air. So if you want to have your voice heard on the show, and of course, I said keep it clean and don't go on for 5 minutes. Like a 1 to 2 minute voicemail suffices. If you want to do that, be sure to check out and become a member, MVP member. And with that said, before we move on to super chats, today's sponsor is Sleeper. And really appreciate Sleeper, who will be sponsoring me the whole year. The whole season. Promo code JKB, you'll get $100 match on your first deposit. And, the thing that's awesome is I use Sleeper for fantasy football. I've been using it for a long time. So now we got Sleeper, for these picks. And I gave you picks throughout the week, but the Ravens and Bills game already started. So definitely you want to go and check out Sleeper. Of course, the link is in the description below. Again, use code JKB and get $100 deposit match up to $100. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring JE Live. So we move forward here, and we got a bunch of supers. So let's do this thing. And I'm going to make sure we get the super chat at the very beginning. I don't want to miss anybody here, right? And I really appreciate you guys. We have over 1,000, it looks like, over 1,000 in here. So really appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. In case you missed the announcement, we're going live after the games this year. We don't have to wait an hour because I'm no longer doing live streams for Bleacher Report. Last year I did them. I'm only doing the short form content for Bleacher Report. So Yeah, I knew a lot of people were like, hey, when are you going to, are you going to do the live right after? Are you going to do it, before, whatever? Yes, that was my plan. So glad we were able to work that out. I'm going live right after games, and, that'll be that. So yes, let's see here. All right, perfect. We got SoCal Ram 88. Thank you for the 10. SoCal, the Rams have a lot of work still. Week 1 jitters, ? They need to be scoring like 30 plus with the offense they have. 14 is not acceptable, but yeah, cut Parkinson and Reader. I'll defend Reader here. Reader was being held by his face mask. Of course, we knew that Craig Rolstad was not going to call that. If you want to know why I have such an issue with Craig Rolstad, well, I shouldn't have to tell you that. But you can check out one of my videos I literally did on Craig Rolstad officiating games. As far as the week 1 jitters, they're real. I'm not going to sit here and say they're not. Also, they don't play preseason games at all. I do know that. I don't know if CJ Stroud did, but Texans did use some of these guys in the preseason, to be fair. So I don't think it could be week 1 jitters and all that, but they need to be scoring 30 plus with the offense. I get the expectations. I like them, but I also don't know how realistic that is. I wouldn't say they need to be scoring 30 plus. I'm saying I would like them to, obviously, but against a team like the Texans, you get in and get out. You win, and then you move on. This week, you look at the offense that the Lions have, and you'd be like, oh yeah, they should probably, do well. Did you see what the Lions did today against the Packers? They lost 27-13, and really that was a 27-6 game when you really think about it. So, we don't really know who's who early on in week 1. We do know that teams that typically finish the season strong the previous year are the teams that are the ones to look out for and how they will move forward in the following year. And the Rams did finish strong last year, probably one of the hottest teams in all of football. So they're in really good shape, and this is a big win against one of the better defenses in the National Football League and a team that can score it. So they held them to no touchdowns. Absolutely love what I saw here, from the Rams against the Texans. But again, SoCal, you have high expectations. I personally just am trying to be fair here, and I understand the whole cut Parkinson thing. They don't need to cut him. I just would rather them use him as a blocker moving forward. I'm good on the receiver. So appreciate the super again. And we move forward here. Cheeky Metro, thank you for the 10. Let's just say I was a Rams and 49ers fan today. Really? You really wanted Seattle to lose that bad? I like me personally, I was rooting for Seattle over the Niners, but truthfully, I don't really care because I think the Rams are going to win the division anyway. I don't think any of those teams are going to be a threat. The Rams will just take care of business. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but I feel confident in that. I looked at the Cardinals today against the Saints, and I was like, I know it's week 1, but that's not a good win by the Cardinals. I understand it's hard to win on the road, but they probably should have lost that game. The Saints blew that game, and I thought Spencer Rattler played well enough for them to win it. That's the crazy thing. And the Seahawks didn't look great. The 49ers didn't look great. Brock Purdy didn't look great. Oh, and by the way, it was a great day because the Falcons lost. Because we're hate watching the Falcons because of the draft pick. Now, of course, I like Raheem Morris a lot. I want him to do well after this year. But the Rams really they really need that higher pick. So since they're attached to the Falcons for now, I guess we're rooting against the Falcons. But good stuff there. Baker Mayfield, game-winning touchdown or go-ahead touchdown to Emeka Ibuka, and then they missed a tying field goal, 44 yards out. The Falcons missed it. The Buccaneers go on to win. Emeka Ibuka, I'll tell you right now, the Rams really liked him. They tried to move up, and they just couldn't make it happen. So he is a Buccaneer. Move on, HAV, thank you for the super. Craig is real stinky on God. Rams 1-0 versus Craig. Yeah, Craig Rolstad is a pain because, he's had multiple instances, the Seahawks game in 2022, the finale, the game against the Steelers in 2023, and then, of course, the Lions playoff game, all of which had the worst controversy you've ever seen. I just think it's hilarious that he ends up getting assigned to the Rams game to start the season. But at least the Rams won, right? At least they won. We'll take that. Great stuff there to be able to overcome it because, yeah, Rolstad is not my favorite official. That's for sure. Roger, thank you for the super here. F them all, Jake. LOL. Yeah. Screw them all. You know, it doesn't matter. The hater's going to hate. That's just how it is. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure this was related to something in general, but love the win. Deuce Falco, thank you for the 20. Adams needs to lock in. Puka the GOAT. Landman jersey could be purchased if he does that again. I love it. Thank you for the 20. I look, Adams is fine. Had some drops in this game, but you can see right away what Adams provides. Just him being out there is going to unlock Puka more. Just him being out there alone is going to unlock everybody. And the back shoulder fade, you can cash in every time. So love what I saw out of Adams today. Would have liked a touchdown, would have liked more, but really was impressed that back shoulder fade. He already has a really good bulk of chemistry with Matthew Stafford. We love that. Puka looked great. He looks like the same player, but better. And then Nathan Landman, I was told the Rams wanted to sign him to an extension. That's what I was told. I was told this guy will likely be wearing horns in the future. So I don't think they're going to let him go, but it depends. What's his contract going to look like? Right now, he's making pennies on the dollar. Would love to see an in-season deal. I don't know if that works or whatever, but we'll see what ends up happening. Appreciate the super. Zaylor Swift, love the name. Thank you for the 5. Xavier Smith is special, needs more opportunities. Parkinson needs to be trade bait. And please, let's investigate that ref. He's got to be a Niner fan, yo. He's actually a Seahawks fan. Xavier Smith is really fun to watch. I won't call him special, but he is really fun to watch. Really good return game from him today, but also the 36-yard grab. Man, that was fun to see in week 1. Just pulling out all the stops. You love to see that. Parkinson needs to be trade bait. I don't know who's going to trade for him, especially with that contract. I like him more as just a blocker and investigate that ref. I've been saying that for 3 years now. I'm not expecting anything anytime soon. So that's just the reality of that. But appreciate the super there. Quintana 310. Inglewood Rams. Appreciate you. Thank you for the 10. Matthew, thank you. You've been a member for 47 months. A real one, if you will. Matthew, that one over-the-shoulder catch by Adams was pretty sweet, though. He did a great job taking their cornerback out of the picture to allow others to get receptions. Seems these guys just want to win. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. Yeah, it's not always going to look super pretty, right? But I was really, really, really impressed with what I saw from him. I was impressed with what I saw from this offense. They only scored 14 points, and I still felt like they should have scored 28. And I'm okay with it. A win is a win, man. Wasn't easy. They got the win. We love it. Zaylor's back at it. Defense played well. O was definite rusty. Yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say so, and I think that's definitely fair for sure. And that's to be expected, so I get that. But I appreciate the 2. And then no Ferguson, I wonder why. He's not there yet. I don't know. Didn't love it. I just don't know if I'd be throwing a Colby Parkinson right now over Ferguson, but that's just me. Appreciate the super. Matthew, thank you for the 50 here. Really appreciate you. Just a little something to start the season. Yes, clearly. Keep up the great work. Glad I decided to follow, subscribe you 4 years ago. It's been a pleasure. Matthew, it's been a pleasure just reading your super chats, your comments. You're a good person. Really appreciate the support on the channel. And, it doesn't go unnoticed. And I love doing this. Absolutely love it every single year. Love interacting with everybody. It's so much fun. And the idea that I'm going to see you guys at 2 SoFi games, and if you're going to be at the 49ers game in Santa Clara, I'm going to be there as well. So 3 games, just really cool. Last year when I did the meet and greet at SoFi Stadium for the Eagles game, I did not expect that turnout. That was really cool. So this channel continues to grow because you guys allow it to grow. I can make the content, but if you guys don't show up and consume it, well, it's not going to get further. It's not going to continue, right? It's not. We're not going to grow here. So it takes two to tango. I can put stuff out, but if you guys aren't watching it, nobody's watching it, then it doesn't go further. So I always appreciate you guys supporting, and we're doing this again. I mean, we started this at the tail end of 2020 and on YouTube. So it's been a ride, and I appreciate you, Matthew. And I don't forget that you've been here for a long time, probably the longest member, I believe. So I could probably look that up, but yes, thank you so much. DK, thank you for the 5. Jake, it's so easy to get caught up in the frustration of the game, and you highlight some of the good that I missed. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. That's my job. Normally I make notes on this, and I probably should have, but I've been chomping at the bit, waiting for this day for so long, pretty much ever since the Eagles game, that I didn't have to make any notes. I just stood right here. I think I had better memory of this game than I've had of any game in recent memory. That was a weird way of putting that, but I think you get my point. I didn't need any notes. I had it all right here. Everything I was watching was just sticking. Everything. And so, yeah, I was really enjoying this game, soaking it all in, but I wanted to keep it real. Like, there's on one side, I feel great about certain things. On the other, I still have some negatives. And then are the negatives, and this is always the thing with the Rams, the negatives never feel catastrophically negative. They're like preferences, right? They can be catastrophic, but very rarely they're not. So that's what I would say there. And I appreciate you, DK, for acknowledging that. My friend Chris, can't wait to go to the Niners game with you. Thank you so much for everything, sending me the Kyron jersey. One of my all-time favorite people I've ever come in contact with, doing this. So I don't take, our friendship for granted at all. And I appreciate the 20. Great week one Great week one win. I didn't know that was a tongue twister, but I guess it is now. Is it crazy that Adam got 51 yards and Kupp got the flip side 15 years? Yeah, I know. It's wait, Kupp got 15 yards? Is that what you're trying to say? I need to look this up now. He got 15 yards. I thought he would have more than that. Good Lord. How did, he got 15 yards? Oh, dude, it was the JSN show. Holy Toledo. I don't think I realized that. Pearsall went for over 100. I know Jennings got hurt again. That's a shame. Such a talented player, and he has been having a hard time staying healthy, but that is crazy. 51-15. How about that? Appreciate the super. Why did it just close out of the super that I just had? It's DP. Oh, man. I got to find it now, guys. There's a list, and it just apparently just closed out of a bunch of supers. So, StreamYard for you. Yeah, it was this one. Okay, cool. To'o was out there playing like Kirby Joseph. Yeah, that was frustrating. That was a frustrating revelation. The head hunting, I get tired of. I really do. The ACL hunting, I get tired of. So there's that too. But DP, appreciate the super. Yeah, To'o is a good player. Didn't like that hit. Didn't care for it. Deuce Falco just gifted 5 Jake Ellenbogen memberships. Appreciate you for the gifted, Deuce. Appreciate you. Max, thank you for the 10. Hey, Jake, Rams defense looked awesome. Jared Verse was getting held the whole game. Offense looked much better after the first quarter. Have to clean up miscues. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's another thing. They kind of let him hold because they were holding every single play. Jared Verse getting held, Byron Young's getting... I thought Byron Young looked a lot better. I'm very curious to see what those numbers look like, but I thought he looked a lot better than he has in the past, so I'm excited to see him. But yeah, really good stuff today all around, and they definitely looked better after the first quarter for sure. Thank you for the super. Fire Poet, thank you for the super. Defense impressive against the run today. Dominant, absolutely. And this is why they brought in Nate Landman. This is why they brought in Puna Ford. I thought they were great against the run. Stroud taking off for 32 yards. That's not the run game. He's scrambling in the passing game, right? So there's a difference there. So I'll say, I think they're two really good football teams. I think the Rams are clearly better than the Texans. But I thought the Texans had the right game plan against this Rams team, and this is the best way to beat them, and they almost did. They came close. As frustrating as it is, the miscue at the end with Parkinson actually gave them life. Deb, thank you for the 10 here. I love Davis Allen, so happy for him, and whoa, Puka. And I thought Stafford looked great. Houston defense is no joke. You're absolutely right. Houston defense is no joke. Kamari Lassiter's a really good player in this league. Henry To'o, okay, it was a dirty hit, sure, but he's a really good player. Jalen Petrie is one of the best run-supportive defensive backs in the league, right? Jalen Petrie is great at playing the run. Derek Stingley Jr. is one of the best corners in the league. Will Anderson Jr. is one of the best pass rushers. Here's another thing, what we don't talk about nearly enough. They had 3 sacks. You had Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. I think the tackles did an outstanding job. Alaric Jackson's first game back, think about this, right? He's barely practiced. His first game since blood clots. And there was a Will Anderson Jr. sack that's not even a sack, right? It was actually just the ball was snapped over Stafford's head and he gets the sack, but it wasn't really a sack. Fadu Kasi, I'll explain that play because I know some people were a little worried about the offensive line on that play. That play is just a nice call by the Texans, okay? D'Amico Ryans notices that the Rams are in 11 personnel grouping in the shotgun with no running back. So when you're in that 11 personnel, that means there's only one tight end, right? There's not 2. When they're in 12 personnel, it means there's 2. And we've seen them in 12 personnel, right? We've seen that. So they were in 12 personnel today a decent amount. But when they didn't have that extra tight end, and you had the injury to Avila, the Texans are like, okay, let's overload the left side of the offensive line. So when they did that, the Rams weren't ready. They did it at a perfect time. Rams didn't have a running back in the backfield, so you couldn't have blitz pickup. There was no pass pro to be seen, and there wasn't another tight end. This is where you got to be careful about knee-jerk reactions. You have to be careful about being overly emotional because you'll watch that and be like, if one person saw that play, the one where Fadu Kasi had the sack, if one person saw that play, they would be like, it's over. The Rams offensive line is going to get Stafford killed. No. I thought the Rams offensive line was as good as they could be against a really, really good defense. That pass rush is no joke, and the Rams had a game plan. That's what I would say. Were they perfect? No. But that play, I saw a lot of people complaining about that play on Twitter. That is not the full game. There's a lot of talent on this defense, and the Rams offense came to play and protected Stafford for the most part. And Stafford still can move. He might not be the most mobile quarterback ever, but he can still move. There were some play calls I really didn't like from this team. I said it on Twitter. I was like, look, didn't like the 3rd and 11 where you're like, oh yeah, we're just going to hand it off, a delayed handoff to Kyron Williams and just pretend that like the Texans didn't do any research on us and know this. That never works. They're punting. But the one call that I absolutely love from Sean McVay that he has done in the past, but he doesn't do it often, tends to just play to win or play not to lose. The 3rd down play. Push comes to shove. The game's pretty much over. Landman punched it out. The Rams are running out the clock, but they got to get this 1st down. And it's about, 3rd and 7 at that point? And they go with the play action bootleg to Puka Nacua to seal the game. And that right there is having balls. That right there is calling a game and calling it in a way that you want to win said game. It's playing to win and not to lose. And what ultimately, more often than not, is going to lead you to more victories than losses. And that right there is something that I absolutely loved watching from Sean McVay. I give a lot of praise to him for calling that play. You at home could be like, well, he's supposed to call that play. Supposed to and actually doing it are two different things. And I've seen games where the Rams have lost because they haven't done that. As a matter of fact, a perfect example, they did this against Seattle last year in Seattle. Yeah, you know the game where they actually threw, in overtime, they went for the jugular and they threw a game-winning touchdown to Demarcus Robinson? That game. They played not to lose. Why do you think Seattle came back being down by so much? Seattle was getting boat raced. But they played not to lose. They started getting conservative. They were running the ball. They took their foot off the gas pedal. They took their foot off their neck. I know what that looks like because I'm a Kansas Jayhawk fan. They should have beat Mizzou yesterday, and they totally took their foot off the gas pedal. It happens. Coaches do this all the time. The best of the best still do it. McVay not doing it game one, having the wherewithal, look, I'm going to trust in my quarterback, Matthew Stafford, and my wide receiver, who's one of the best in the league, in Puka Nacua, to work on this play. I'm so glad he did. It's the dagger. You want to go for that dagger. You don't want to have to sit there and just be like, and pray that they have a miscue. You want to put yourself in the best position to win, and that is the best position to win. Brian, thank you for the 5. Nate Landman play was so clutch. Braden Fisk with the best recovery ever. Great freaking W. Love you, Jake. Back at you, Brian. I appreciate you. Braden Fisk, I'm glad you mentioned this. I tweeted this out. I forgot to bring this up on the show, and we're now over 50 minutes in. But Braden Fisk had one of the best fumble recoveries you'll ever see. That was as important as Nate Landman's punch out. That was insane. The arm extension and then just the strength to take that ball and just rip it back into your chest. That was insane. Absolutely insane from Kingpin himself. Absolutely love it. Love that you brought it up. It was a great win. I don't care that they won 14-9. They could win 3-2. As long as they win the first game of the year, I'm good. Even if they didn't win last year. They won the year prior, but then they lost a bunch of games. This team has shown you they can get off to a good start. They can get off to a bad start. But end of the day, Sean McVay's teams normally do really well, unless they have just a crazy amount of injuries like they had in 2022. Jason, thank you for the 5. McVay coach team. Who cares if we didn't put up 30? Got the W. I'm seeing Wind Waker again September 28th in Mesa, Arizona. Rock on Rams. Jason, appreciate you. Love the Wind Waker mention. As you probably know, I interviewed Liam Ganane over on The Lounge, so the lead singer of Wind Waker. Love that you're seeing them. I'm a little jealous, too. I still need to see them. But McVay, yeah, absolutely. They didn't put up 30, but they got the win. Who cares? It's going to be a tough year in the league. I'll tell you, it's actually kind of funny. I have them winning 13 games, and I still stand by that. One thing I noticed when I was going through every single team's roster is that this league there's not a lot between different teams. That's what I was noticing. A lot of these teams, there's like a couple players between the next game. Like, I can't really even explain it the way I want to, but essentially, there's not as big of a gap between most of the rosters in the league. Looking at all the rosters in the league, there's not like 10 teams that are clearly way worse than the 10 other teams. That's what I was noticing. That's why when I look at the Rams, I look at the Bills, I look at the Ravens, the Eagles, these rosters just stood out to me. Like, they're clearly legit. Like, they're clearly cream of the crop. So that's what I would say there. But appreciate the super. Nicholas, thank you for the super. Ferguson, question mark? Yeah, no Ferguson, I guess. Unless I missed him. Really frustrating. Oh, man. You win the game, obviously. I don't want that to take away from the win. But I'm a big believer. Second round tight end should be playing. But then again, we didn't even see a catch for Tyler Higbee. So who knows what we're going to get? Truthfully, I have no idea. I have none. LA Rams fan 90, thank you for the super. How bumhurt do you think JB Scott at TST was to see Stafford outplay CJ, also take hits and get back up? LOL. Well, I'll say this. JB is good at what he does. I know JB. I wrote with him for a little bit at TST. I'll say this. I think JB Scott is happy that the Rams won. I can't really, speak on what he feels about Stafford and Stroud and all that because I don't know. But I know he's happy the Rams won because he's a Rams fan. Of course he's happy they won. But I appreciate the super nonetheless. Bama boy, thank you for the 10. Kobe Durant has the highest ceiling in all our DB room. I disagree. I love Kobe. The highest ceiling in the DB room is probably Emmanuel Forbes. And it might actually be a guy that didn't even play today, and Josh Wallace, who I was told was going to play. So, I think he was on special teams, but the point stands. I think Josh Wallace might have the highest ceiling. It's him or it's Emmanuel Forbes, but we'll see. I'm very curious to see how they take this game, everything they learned from this game, and then they apply it to the next game. Do they make any adjustments? Are there any different players that are in? Like, that's what I'm curious about. So, I mean, we'll find out. But thank you for the super there. Will, thank you for becoming a rookie member. We appreciate you here on the channel. Thank you a bunch. SoCal Ram 88, thank you for the 2. Run game wasn't good. It's tough. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I think they did a decent job. I think the Texans, statistically, the running game struggled. I get that. Situationally, when the Rams had to have a touchdown, the Rams had to have a short yardage gain, I thought the run game looked good. It was tough to run against this defense. I was so wrong about this defensive line. I told you guys, and I will be the first one to tell you that I'm wrong. You guys know this. I'm a believer in self-scouting. I know some people don't realize that, but I am. I was blown away by the Texans' run defense. Blown away. So they did a nice job. I got to give them a lot of credit. Tim Settle, right? They had other guys as well, like Sheldon Rankins and Fadikasi. Folo Fadikasi, I believe his name is. I mean, those guys stepped up. They had some really good players in the trenches. So I didn't think that they were going to be that good for this team. Wasn't as high on their run defense, but I thought they did a nice job. You got to give credit where credit's due, right? Texans are a little bit better than maybe I thought. The offensive line still is going to be the thing that plagues them. I'll go as far as to say this. If the Texans' offensive line was average, they'd win 12 games. And I want you to remember I said that. Not because the Texans, but if you're a Rams fan here, and I would imagine most of you are, I want you to remember I said that because it's just a reminder of how good this Texans team is that the Rams just played. If the Texans had The offensive line the Rams have, they win 12 to 13 games. I'm just being honest here. That offensive line is going to be a problem. And think about this. When your offensive line starters aren't great, what does that mean when your backups come in? They're not great either. So there's that. All right. We got all the supers out of the way. And obviously, if any come up, we'll get to that. But now, let's see here real quick. I'm going to bring this up just so you guys can see that for a sec. And then let's see. Oh boy. Here we go. There we go. There we go. I guess I'm getting used to this. All right. So now we got voicemails. Okay, I got a P-Train voicemail. And guys, when you drop a voicemail, be sure to put your name at the beginning so I can give you your credit, or so I actually know who you are, so they know who you are as well. So yeah, this is P-Train. All right. So hopefully you guys heard that. Oh, you didn't hear it. You really didn't hear that? All right. One sec. All right. Let's see if you hear it now.
Hey, this is P-Train. Glad the Rams got the victory over the Texans. Room for improvement on the offense. And the refs, way too many penalties. But we're only going to get better. Let's go Rams.
Did you guys hear that? Yes? I can't tell. Okay, now you can hear. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't just sitting in silence. So yeah, that was P-Train. And then somebody somebody called and didn't leave a voicemail. So you kind of have to leave a voicemail in order for the voicemail to air. Just, yeah. Okay. All right. So now we have RJ. Oh, no. So transcript said RJ. No, it's Matthew. Okay, cool. So Matthew, I believe this is Matthew Plowden as well. Let's see here.
All right, Jay, this is Matthew, man. Good to be on your voicemail. Just wanted to say I've done my thing in this 47 months. I can't believe you put up with me for almost 4 years now. But anyways, on the game, I've been a Rams fan for 47 years, and it's they never fail to get my heart going with these games. But anyways, good to see some clubs sometimes doing some good things on there. I know a lot of people disagree, but anyways, just had a question for you about the Devontae Adams. I mean, which one is it? Are they number one and number two receivers, or is one slot and one's outside, or how they classifying that? I was just wondering. You do good work and investigate stuff, so I figured you might know the answer to it. Anyway, thank you for the time. I hope people can understand me. I know I got a little bit of a southern accent, but go Rams, and have a good night, guys.
No, we understand you perfectly. And you know, the thing, Matthew, obviously everybody knows who you are. So we appreciate you. I appreciate you. Great question. So basically, 47 years you've been a Rams fan, and 47 months you've been a member. I don't know if you put 2 and 2 together, but I thought that was cool. We love the Southern accent. So, that's always great as well. No, so you were asking, what kind of position. So Davante Adams is only really going to play when it comes to, on the outside, right? So that's just the reality of it. So Davante Adams is playing the X receiver. Now, the job on the X receiver is supposed to be the superior receiver. He's supposed to take on the number one receiver, or the number one corner, excuse me. And a lot of the time, this guy is going to be the guy that can create separation. He's also going to be the guy that can stretch the field a little bit, right? So he's like your alpha male receiver. Now, what this does is it takes Derek Stingley and forces him to have to play on Davante Adams. It allows that number one corner on another team to now you get him taken off of another receiver you want to throw to, like a Puka Nacua. Now, Puka Nacua can play underneath. He can play in the slot. He can also play on the outside because there's 2 outside receivers. They're also, there's different alignments, so I don't want to confuse you. But, you have your slot receiver. But yeah, typically 2 outside receivers, and then you have your slot receiver and 11 personnel. More often than not, they're going to want Puka Nacua in the slot. And they were running a lot of 12 personnel grouping today with the 2 tight ends set. So that's the thing. I don't know if I explained that well, but yeah, they're essentially Puka Nacua doesn't have to go against the number one corner, which is cool. Unless they move him off. But if they move him off, now I get my number one wide receiver against a lesser corner. Right. So there's that. So yeah, I hope that helped and, kind of explained it the best way I could. But yeah. We got more supers. So appreciate you guys. Daniel, thank you for the 5. Rams play best when run game is established. Feels like McVay tends to get pass happy too often. Also love Tutu, but he may be outshined by Jay Witt/X. Yeah, today with Tutu Atwell, and I understand some people are like, what the hell just happened? Tutu Atwell was supposed to have a big role. We were told he was going to have an extended role, and now he only has 1 catch for 4 yards on 1 target. Here's the thing with Atwell. Today's game plan, the Texans took away the deep ball. The Texans took away the big play down the field. So in order for the Rams to get that big play, as evidenced by that X Smith catch, is they had to find ways to scheme guys open to get said play. And that is what they did. That's exactly what they did. And so I understand maybe it wasn't what people were looking forward to, but I see Tutu Atwell as somebody that'll have a bigger impact in other games. This was just one of those games where he was going to be basically a decoy, or they were really, if they wanted him to be the focal point of the offense in any capacity, they were going to have to get really creative to get him the football. But Tutu Atwell, make no mistake about it, was a part of today's win. He only had 4 yards on a catch, but this is why you don't focus so much on just stats, but also on the whole bevy of the game. And the reality is that if you don't have Tutu Atwell on that play, then I don't believe you have a guy that's going to grab the attention as quickly as he did, because his speed is feared. And keep in mind, the Rams have done joint practices with the Texans in the past, okay? They had a joint practice in 2024. This is pretty much the same team, add some new players and what have you, but it's the same faculty, staff, quarterback, right? So Tutu Atwell is known by this Texans roster. He's known by this Texans coaching staff. They saw him in the joint practice. They know his speed. They have to, basically expect it, respect it as well. So when he became available in the field like that, and he cut inside, now that defensive back has no choice but to just follow Tutu Atwell. Well, when he follows Tutu Atwell, it schemes Xavier Smith open. So that's just one instance. Obviously, Atwell had some other, parts of this game where you could see the speed was, respected, and thus it opened up things over the middle or what have you. But that is what you do. Good players do. They find ways to impact games even when they can't do it the way that you would want on a stat sheet. And that's what we saw with Tutu Atwell today. But I love the super. Appreciate you, Daniel. I like that you're thinking outside the box here. The run game, totally agree with you. I would have liked to see them run the ball a little bit more early on. I think it kind of put them in a little bit of a tough spot, but I also think the Texans just were strong, and they really did a nice job stopping the run. And then Jordan Whittington, it's so funny. Guy doesn't end up with a catch on the day because it got taken away by a penalty. And I thought Whittington looked spectacular. So it's a sign, man. You see that speed, it's real. You see the explosive ability, the big play ability, it's real. It translates on game days. So really excited to see what he does. Appreciate the super. Bama boy, thank you for the 10. I was not impressed by Verse or Kobe Turner today. Seems like edge defenders still don't understand what contain means. I understand the frustration. I also have to say that there are certain ways to play defense. And when it comes to Chris Shula, I believe that he had things in place for that. See, you play contain when you're asked to play contain. I would not be surprised at all if Chris Shula came out today and said, look, we just wanted these guys to go hunting, and the way that we lined other guys up, like a Nate Landman, we believe his sideline-to-sideline ability, or an Omar Spates or whoever, right, a Tank McCullough can come up and make that play. But we're going to be okay with that because we believe more often than not, having Jared Verse and Kobe Turner go hunting like that is going to benefit us. So I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, I will say, and I will defend them, I was very impressed. I was impressed by the whole defense. I thought they all looked great. I thought Byron Young looks like he's taken a step, which is crazy because he's already a good player. But man, that defensive line is going to be a problem. We saw it. Tyler Davis, you can see it, man. You can see it. So excited for that. Thank you for the super, Bama boy. And then Brian, thank you for the super. A W is a W. We played great defense. Week 2. Yes, against the, I almost said the Houston Texans. They just played them. The Tennessee Titans in Tennessee against a rookie quarterback who just got his first licks against a brutal defense. And he's going to be seeing another brutal defense. He just gets to see them at home. So this is the first game of his career at home. Cam Ward was sacked 6 times today by the Denver Broncos. And the crazy thing is that they have some weapons. Like they have a Tyler Lockett. You got, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, Okonkwo, Gunnar Helm, Io Manor. You got plenty of weapons there for the young Cam Ward. But Ward was sacked 6 times by the Broncos. It was a tough day, and they still almost found a way to win. They did not. The Broncos move on, and they won 20-12. But this is a team, this Tennessee defense is no joke. They forced 2 interceptions today on Bo Nix. They forced a fumble on Bo Nix. They forced a fumble on Marvin Mims. This is a defense that's ready to break out, I believe. Jarvis Brownlee really showed out today for the Titans. Cody Barton was everywhere. Roger McCreary, Amani Hooker, all these guys. Jeffrey Simmons just kept hitting the quarterback. L'Jarius Sneed, Xavier Woods. Woods had a pick. McCreary had a pick. So, yeah, there's a lot there. The fumbles, were recovered twice. They forced 2 fumbles. So, yeah, this Titans defense is going to give them a chance. And it's a former Ram, by the way. A former Ram coach, Denard, who is their defensive coordinator. So, yeah, but not the Ram coach you're thinking of. Denard is actually from the Jeff Fisher era. He's actually 2016 Rams. Moved on with the Jets, and then eventually now he was with the Ravens, I believe, with McDaniel, and now he's with the Titans. Or McDonald's, excuse me. Now he's with the Titans. So, Titans defense looks legit. The offense, on the other hand, only 112 passing yards by Cam Ward. No rushing yards. Cam Ward did not run at all today. Very interesting there. Leading receiver was Tony Pollard with a catch for 29, followed by Calvin Ridley, 4 catches for 27. I think this is a really good opportunity for the Rams for sure. So I'm excited to see that and how that goes. But we shall see week 2 against the Titans. We, of course, will cover it in all of its glory this week and get you guys ready for that game. So we move on to the next super. Robert, Jake, you're the GOAT. Nice win. You've called it with Landman. Hope the O-line is okay. Need to see Ferg used. Defense is a top 7 unit. Go Rams. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Landman, everything I was hearing about Landman, I liked the move when they first got him, but everything I was hearing about Landman after the fact and how he became a captain, all this, I was like, okay, so he's going to be like something else. And you're seeing it. His presence is known. He's a huge upgrade over last year's starters, Christian Roseboom and Troy Reeder. And I didn't even think they played really well against the Lions. I was impressed with the way they played last year. Landman was superb today. So a lot of respect for him. He would be my player of the game for sure. I would just say that. That was huge. But again, defense looks great. Secondary looks great. Defensive front looks great. The pressure was there. Really curious to see what PFF ends up putting up for the Rams because I'm not sure how they're going to grade a lot of these guys. I will say, we better not see a bad grade for Akello because he's gotten some bad grades where it's like you watch the game and you're like, I don't really know what the hell you're looking at, if I'm being entirely honest with you. So we'll see. I don't think the grades are... Oh, they are available. Okay. Well, let's... Or it says they're available, but they're not showing. So they're not available. Why the hell does it say they're available? I don't know. It did say it was available, though. I'm not going crazy. I'm about to screen share this just so you can see that I'm not crazy. And I will. So... It's cut off by this super chat. Final grades available. Look at this. That doesn't look very available to me. I mean, damn. Anyway, it is what it is. We'll know sooner or later. I absolutely love watching this defense go to work, so appreciate the super. Deuce Falco, thank you again for the 10. Landman won the game. Again, if he does it again, I'm getting a Landman jersey. He's rocking 53, too. That's such a great number. I love that number. Absolutely love it. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, man. Hit it. Do it. Make your dreams come true. Also known as the like button. And I don't know why. I have this thing where I have to thumbs up when I'm telling you to do it. I mean, visual representation is probably the move. But it helps so much because we're trying to grow this channel. We're trying to continue to grow it. I think we can get to 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I know that sounds crazy, right? We're at 31.3. I really do believe we can get to 40K. I do. I believe by the end of 2026, we can have 50K. We can be halfway to getting a silver play button. I don't know where I'm putting the damn thing. I got a lot of props everywhere, but I'm telling you, I'll find a way to put it somewhere if you guys get me to that 100K to get the silver play button. I promise you that. So, anyway... appreciate you guys. This has been an absolute blast. Privilege, pleasure, love doing these. Never take them for granted. But JE Live is just getting started. We got Laquan Jones coming back on the show. We get to talk about the 1-0 Los Angeles Rams, tied for first place in the NFC West. I'll just tell you my whole schedule for the week. Laquan Jones is coming on. Working on getting on a pretty big guest. Tuesday is the NFC West Roundtable. That'll be fun. Victory shades for days. What else? We'll figure it out. Oh, Downtown Rams is Friday. Well, Downtown Rams is it Tuesday or is it Monday? I guess I'll tell you guys. Let's see. What does the schedule look like? Downtown Rams is Tuesday. Recap 8 p.m. Eastern time I have here on my calendar on the 9th. And then Downtown Rams is for the Titans preview is the 12th, so it's a Friday. And yeah, we'll have some other stuff as well. Wednesday, I got Justin Mello coming on, who covers the Titans. Great guest. I have him coming on JE Live at 12:45 Eastern Time. That's 9:45 a.m. Rams time. And I'm going on his show at noon. So we're going right from his show to my show. So a lot of stuff there. And last but not least, also on Wednesday, Off the Edge Live with Cameron Lynch, your former Rams and Buccaneers linebacker. Cam also was my co-host for Believe in Rams. So if you guys miss Cam and I together, please do us a favor and follow or subscribe. You see, that can't happen. That was a total amateur hour move by me. I just said follow on YouTube. Oh, send me the gulag. Anyway, be sure to check us out over on Off the Edge YouTube. We go live 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday. And we will be doing the picks for each week. So definitely check it out. Definitely be sure to give it a sub. I'm going to post that link in the description, but also in the chat here. Would do me a huge favor if you guys did that. Basically, just like the video, check out Off the Edge, hit a subscribe button on that, hit the subscribe button here, and last but not least, check out today's sponsor, Sleeper. Really big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this channel throughout the season. You can get a $100 deposit match up to $100 using code JKB. Sleeper is awesome. Literally all of my fantasy football leagues are Sleeper, so love it. And it's really cool to be able to work with somebody that I actually like somebody that I really like. So the NFL season's here. And if you're looking, to get in on the action, you could literally 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. And Sleeper is the best way to do it. So again, use promo code JKB. You'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. And that's going to do it. This has been JE Live. I am JE, a.k.a. Jake Ellenbogen. And I'll see you guys tomorrow because we'll definitely be going live in some capacity tomorrow. So appreciate you. If you happen to be a Yankee fan, and don't get pissed off if you're not, it's my job. I have to do it. It's my show. If you happen to like that team right there, I'm going to be going live on Yankees Unloaded, my other show that I do with Gary Sheffield Jr. So be sure to check that out. And if you're new to the fact that I'm also a Yankee fan and I cover the Yankees for whatever reason, be sure to subscribe to that channel. I'll see you guys next time. And Rams 14, Texans 9, 1-0. We're on to Tennessee. Later, folks.